Okay, well, good. I'm so glad that we're talking. I feel like the universe has synchronistically brought us together. So
Yeah, I love this. I agree. Am I supposed to be able to see you, or is that does it?
no, nope. Just
All right,
picture my face in your mind. That's what I'm doing for you.
I love it. I love it.
Well, I feel like we're kind of in the same boat here in terms of we had talked. You had reached out to me on Instagram just for everybody listening, and we had started talking, and I was at a place where the universe is sort of pushing me to do podcasts with other people, and I was like, okay, like who am I supposed to talk to? Like send people my way, and then. Sure enough, a few days later, you reached out to me randomly and introduced yourself, and so I'm stepping
Oh,
outside my
not
comfort
randomly.
zone doing this, and so are you.
Nice.
Yeah, I love it. I just feel like I want to have more and more of these conversations with people because I love talking to most of these I do by myself, but I just love picking people's brains and just sort of seeing like where they're at and what their viewpoints are, and so I kind of just want to pick your brain a little bit and like. Are you have you always been sort of do you consider yourself spiritual in nature or religious or like where are you at and how did that kind of start for you?
Honestly, I feel like it's been all my life, to be honest, and it's just sort of something like I don't like. It feels like yeah, there's been more of a recent activation in the last 2 years, especially. As a result of course, coming out of some major life tense experiences.
Yeah.
But I mean, as I look back, like when I first started, like a year ago, one of the people in my orbit that I kind of actually started taking classes from gave me permission to start kind of in our WhatsApp group, in that group, like just spouting whatever was on my mind type of
Yeah.
space.
Yeah.
And in that process, ended up moving to Instagram for a while. And then that process ended up, I dug out one of my old, I have a, what I call my journal vault. Right. So,
Oh,
and
the
I've been
archives.
dreading, I'm a journaler. I've been journaling my entire life.
Oh,
And
gotcha.
I was reading a lot of my old journal stuff. I'm like, holy crap, I've been thinking and processing and feeling through this stuff for pretty much my whole life,
Yeah.
but wasn't calling it anything. And that's kind of the one of the things that I was kind of excited to chat with you about, like, because like I didn't like know I was having an awakening, right? And
Right. Right.
there were other people calling that in my world, like, "Oh, welcome to your awakening," or the
Right.
way that word kept on entering my life, and
Right. Did that word resonate with you or was it like I don't really resonate with that word?
I was cautiously interested, as I guess I am with everything that started, because I'm very. I guess I've always been kind of cautious. That's like I guess I've been a very just the spiritual part of myself, the interested in bunny hole curiosity is part of myself is something that would keep popping up, and then I keep stuffing back down. I'll be real.
Yeah, right.
And, uh, like I was curious to have that safe space of people who seem to have the same energy, and that word
Right.
like words are helpful, right? The words are helpful to give you a defined container to explore what it's like a safe space to explore. But then the more I was exploring, the more I feel like I don't really even resonate with that word anymore. I'll be real.
Yeah. Yeah, right, right.
Because it's like it's like the more I just have been walking this path, the more I realize where every step and every aspect of my life is an act of is a spiritual act. Really, it's how it feels. And
Right.
to put it in this container of awakening or a spiritual awakening felt too constrained, to be honest. Feels too constrictive and actually it pigeonholes a lot of things that I because there's things I explore that are I just kind of feel like the exploration then sometimes when you define something, then the space of that exploration stays contained in that container.
I'm sitting here just nodding as you're talking. I'm like, I totally agree with you. I've never really liked labels or labeling myself as this or that. And I just kind of, want to explore this or explore that. And
Right.
um, that's why I called it a cult of misfits because I felt like a misfit. Like I don't really consider myself Christian. I don't consider myself Buddhist. I don't even maybe consider myself spiritual. Like, what does that mean? I feel like I don't want to put myself in any of those boxes.
Yeah. And it's funny because then I even go like I can't help but share like I question because yeah I'm a Gen Xer. I came
Mhm.
up in the grunge world, Nirvana, Soundgarden, like
Yeah. Well, I'm from the Seattle area, so like I'm like, yep, yep, yep.
The sort of, and that was kind of the anti-hairband world.
Sure. Right. Right.
Back in my earlier years, loving getting into music, and then I kind of started to realize later in life, well, was I just being too cool for school? Like, yes, I love the angry, like, screw you world, I'm me type energy.
Right.
You know, it kind of became its own version of what it was, I guess, pushing against. And then I,
Right.
listen to Def Leppard and hair bands and love it. But like at that age, like if I were listening to anything other than grunge or punk rock, even, or things that were like obviously trying to do the, give the finger to the world type feel,
Yeah.
I rejected it. And it's funny
You.
that now I'm kind of flipping at this world like, oh, shit, I love it all. I don't care.
It's so funny to have that change in perspective, right? But have you always? Do you consider yourself a rebel? Like, I mean, that's kind of a dramatic word, but like, just sort of like not wanting to go with mainstream or trends or not.
No, not really. No, not at all.
Hmm.
Because like it's interesting because I had a lot of, I guess, yes and no. It's always the duality of it, I guess. So it's like,
Yeah.
for instance, I guess the one example of that in my past was I went through a phase where I did reject Christianity really hardcore, like where I couldn't even stand prayer at a dinner table. I couldn't take it anymore. I couldn't.
Oh.
I
Did
felt
you grow up
really,
religious in a religious household?
I grew up Lutheran in a Lutheran household,
Okay. Okay.
so it wasn't like is Lutherans are pretty chill. I'll be honest, they're my version of.
That's what they're known for. Everybody knows the Lutherans are chill.
So, but there was that energy of if you don't believe this, then you're going to hell energy.
Right.
And at the point that I was doing my confirmation, I literally was in tears, sitting in the basement, like stairway, like having in tears, talking to a pastor friend of my mother's, like, I don't resonate with this. I don't feel like that. I can't. I'm
Mm,
basically confirming my belief that Jesus is my savior. And it's
right.
like that sentence is one of the things that I never really resonated with because I at the same time was also at that age reading things like Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, and I was reading a lot of
Yeah.
Alan, and I was reading, I started to kind of explore those worlds.
Yeah.
Like, my best friend was Jewish, and I had conversations with my father who was like, "Yeah, I'm sorry, I know you love your Jewish friend, but she's going to hell." And I'm like, "No, what? No, no, I do not. No, no, thank you."
Yes. I'm just shaking my head. I had a similar situation. Yeah.
But at the same time, I've also been really attracted because I then ended up going to an arts high school. And in the arts high school context, everyone's a rebel. Everyone's
Sure.
through whatever. But the
Yeah.
group of friends that I was attracted to the most ended up being a group of really serious Christian people.
Mm.
In a way, kind of looked at me like I was the lost one. I was the lost child because I was
Sure. Bringing you back into the flock.
right. But I love them as people, and I resonated with them as how they as far as how they acted in life, what they did with themselves, and I sort of like in a way, and that was my own version of being a rebel, I guess. Like in arts high school, I'm socializing with the group that are kind of the rebels in that context because
Yeah.
everyone else
Definitely.
at school is like, especially Christianity, like is like if you're an artist in the arts high school as a teenager in the '90s, you were not.
Right. Definitely. Right.
So I guess in that context, yes, there's that rebel feel, but at the same time, I've always had this the rebel who also like I love the thing is that I've part of my walk is I have this tendency to just I love you. I love everyone. I love and I don't care where you come from or what your beliefs are. And it's been also interesting to see in the way like that ends up keeping me. I don't have one group of friends. It's always been I have one friend from the punk rock group. I have one friend from the hip hop crew. I have one friend from the like all these different communities of people. And then I just kept on seeing, well, everybody thinks and feels the same crap. They just define it differently and use different words to say it and feel it.
Right.
Been a weird experience, I guess, in a way. So it's a rebel.
Yeah, because I feel like at the core of all the major religions, I mean, essentially, it's all talking about love. I mean, you start looking into all this stuff, or the ancient philosophies or wisdoms, like they're all kind of talking about the same stuff. They call it different things or whatever, but in my growing up in a Christian household, I never had that perspective. My perspective was the same as your father's, where it's like, you're either on Team Jesus or sorry to tell you, but you're going to hell. And that was my perspective for into my 20s until I started exploring other philosophies and realizing, oh, maybe I'm not on the right team. Maybe there's maybe there's different perspectives around here.
Right. Yeah. And the
Did
word
you find when you started delving into more things of a more spiritual nature, did your family give you any pushback or kind of judge you or try to bring you back to the flock?
um honestly not, there wasn't a lot of too much pressure on that. I guess a little bit from my father, but not so much. There was like I guess some of the extended family, one of my extended family who was my godmother, especially,
Mm,
was always trying to get me to go to like the Creationist Museum and things.
yeah. Did you feel like you had to defend yourself all the time to them, or did you feel comfortable in like this is just sort of where I'm at? I'm not where you're at, and we can be okay with that. Or was it hard?
I think my way of coping was just completely staying quiet on my beliefs and my feelings. Like
Oh,
good, I was a blender. I was always like a, you know what? I'm not just not gonna speak my truth. And the thing that's funny about that is when you don't speak your truth, people believe that you believe their truth. Or I mean, they kind of there's a interesting thing that happens where like you
yeah.
get there's this perception they get of me that is not me. That I guess
Right. What?
isn't.
Why didn't you talk about it? Were you embarrassed about it, or you just didn't want to deal with it? You just don't want to deal with it, or what was the reasoning?
I did not talk about it. I think that's something I'm still trying to learn, Matt.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh, okay then. Okay then. In progress. In progress.
I
Great.
talked about it. I did that dabbling on Instagram a bit, and then which felt really great. But then I still have these like screw this with the social media feel, like
Oh, I hear you. I hear
the
you.
energy of it, and the because then even I guess I do have that rebel in me. Like I keep going back to that question on the rebel because like there is that like as soon as you start to step out, I feel like then there's that energy of putting me back into a box, and I don't like to be boxed.
Yeah. Set me free.
And then I just go quiet. That's my response. I'm
Oh,
but you
interesting.
said in your podcast, I've listened to all of them. Thank you
Yeah.
for I love your
Oh,
podcast. And
well, great. Thank you.
yeah, I do want to share a moment of appreciation and gratitude for you. Thank you very much for being you and just speaking your truth as it is. And it's helpful. It's very
Well,
helpful.
that means a lot. That means a lot. I appreciate it. And thanks for listening. It's just a crazy journey. I feel like I was not my true authentic self like most of my entire life. And so it was like I had to actively work at just being comfortable with being myself and not caring like what my family thinks of me or what society thinks of me or that it's like a long process, but I feel like I've finally gotten to a place or where I feel more my it's like an ever unfolding thing I feel like in my life. And so I just feel like I discover more and more about myself and become more and more authentic as each day goes by, and it's satisfying but challenging because I feel like we're programmed to be the opposite, to not talk about our feelings or not share things because we don't want people to laugh at us or whatever.
Right. So true. So true. But I feel like can I ask so in that context, as I speak about not liking like my energy of not liking to be contained, I do also have I've appreciated the spaces that I've been creating in this, especially the last 2 years, as I've become more myself authentically, openly, that I had created containers here and there where I practice that practice of being my authentic, genuine self more.
Yeah,
And to be real, there's containers that I still am I guess I call it like a realm crosser. I cross between realms a lot, right? Like
sure.
of us do our lives. And I go and I still do a lot of my daily life in spaces that I guess I'm practicing being my authentic self, but not fully the same way that I do in these other contained spaces. Say this conversation with you, where I guess I don't hide it as much. I just don't speak it. I used to feel
Gotcha.
guilt for not speaking it. I just listen. I'm a big listener.
Yeah,
But the thing that I've had to practice more as I act more authentically and genuine is I don't have to always speak my truth to everyone all the time because there is that like I like what you say about the planting seeds thing. Like I'm not here to evangelize myself, right?
right. Right.
I'm here to listen, and then but I only speak when addressed directly with questions a lot of times, sometimes in these spaces.
Yeah, great.
And I always just say my truth. And I'll be honest, sometimes I tamp it down. And
Hmm.
I used to feel guilty for that. I'm kind of been giving myself more permission to feel less guilty for tamping that down because boundaries are healthy, right?
Totally.
But trusting that the offer up the resonance that I am feeling more openly in those spaces as I'm asked to do so, and just trusting as I do so, even if it's just leaked out in tiny little trickles, that those vibrations are reaching the right, the way they're supposed to in that space.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you feel like that you're so because you're working on it actively and conscious and aware of it, or do you feel like you are becoming more your authentic self as it goes on? Are you getting do you feel like you're getting more and more practice and achieving that, at least in the last few years?
I do. I
Yeah,
definitely do.
right on.
And it's interesting to see the change in other people around me as well.
Yeah. Like what? Like what?
And it's almost like you don't want to point out the observation of the change to the people you see change and shift because sometimes it feels like I'm just going to let that be and see what happens. Because if I,
Right.
it feels like it's like I don't want to do a, I told you so. Like, oh, look at this. I'm so glad you're. Because sometimes it's just, I think like humans a lot of times are inherently oppositional.
Yeah, sure.
You point out the positive with
Yes.
people as an observer. They push back on that positive. It feels. Even I myself do that. Like, don't tell me I'm good at what I do. I go hide in this corner now that you did. Like,
Right. Or overanalyze it. Why did they say that? Why did what like
exactly. Yeah,
it's
right.
so funny how we're just I call it programming, like we're just programmed to behave certain ways. And I feel like part of this process that I feel like I'm in and you're in, and this awakening or whatever, like it's just asking myself, why do I respond to things that way? Or why does that make me angry? Or why do I why do I uh just why do I do all the things that I do?
Yeah, it's fascinating. It's funny. 'Cause it's funny, every time you say something, I have this countering, like, there's the why, but then there's just why is there the why? Why does it even
I
feel,
know. And then it starts
you
getting
know?
Buddhist and kung fu and like there is everything and there is nothing. You start getting into like these mysterious riddles and nothing makes sense and everything's contradictory. And
Uh,
that's why I love all this knowledge and looking into ancient wisdom and all this stuff. But at some point, I dig, 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 and I'm soaking up all the knowledge. But then at some point, it just starts to not make sense again. It just comes full circle. You're like, I don't understand any of this stuff now.
so fun.
So fun.
It's so fun.
It's all I view it all as a game. What do you think about what do you think happens after you die?
I I do think it's an energy shift more than anything.
Hmm.
It's definitely just a shift in energy.
Just a
Meaning,
transition to the next thing.
yeah, whatever that next thing is, and I'm not even sure there's a next thing. I just think it's a not even the next thing. I don't feel like death is going anywhere. Just like I don't feel like birth is getting anywhere in a
Mm.
way. I feel like it's a shift.
Yeah, but you think there's something after your physical body dies. There's something.
I would say there's a continuation is the word.
Oh. Oh, okay. Sure, sure, sure. A continuation of like, would you call it a soul or the essence of you, or what do you call it?
I tend to think in terms of energy. It's just a
Mhm.
continuation of the like I love that concept, which apparently may not be totally physically in the world of physics. I think I read some article that Newton was the law, but what's in motion stays in motion with energy. I don't. Apparently, there was some kind of conflict with that scientific concept recently, but I still believe that there is this. It just changes form.
Yeah, meaning that like energy never disappears. It always has to go somewhere. Is that what you're getting at?
Yeah, and I guess I've lost my desire to define what form that is.
Yeah.
I don't really feel the need to, which is interesting when I talk to people who are, and even myself, when I've experienced in my life and with family members, like say someone is passing, it's interesting because I have, I'm a very empathetic,
Hmm.
compassionate individual, extremely. I'm a very feeling person. I feel everything.
Yeah.
So
I can
you
tell. I feel like it's a great quality and it's obvious, just FYI. You emote it. Yeah, definitely.
but in that context of like really wanting to share the love and compassion for someone that's is feeling the suffering of the passing and the grieving of people they love in their life that are passing. There's always
Right.
that you always want to say things like, "Oh, I'm sorry you're going through this," or it feels like all of the words that we use in our language to show the feelings of compassion don't properly express the feeling of what I feel, which is an interesting challenge I have all the time around like because I there's a blessing in the death. There's a huge blessing with it as well, and
Yes.
it's I try to like I want to give people the permission to feel the blessing of the passing of their loved one,
Yes. But
big
it's
time.
so hard. I've never heard anybody describe this before, and you're describing my exact feelings, which I've never articulated. But I often find the same thing. Like, when somebody dies, I don't want to say, "Oh, I'm sorry to hear that," because I'm not sorry to hear that. I believe that's just a part of the process, and I don't know what to do to
I'm not
console
sorry to
them. And
hear.
I know I don't want to say like, "Well, your energy their energy is transferring to the next place." I don't know what to do to console them, but I don't feel sad about it. I don't feel the way that they do, so I don't know how to respond. Sometimes it's so funny to hear you say that.
I guess just to share with you. So one of the tools I've learned on that is really just offering a space for people, giving them a permission in the space to feel how they feel as a result of that experience in their life is kind of what I try to go for.
Oh, I like that. I like that. Have you found that successful?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Of just not maybe
It
not
takes
articulating it and just being there for them instead of trying to put something on it?
yeah, or even just finding a way to articulate that feeling of somehow like I feel I feel for you, or I feel where you're at, and I trust as well. Kind of trying to put the energy of feeling, the feeling as well as the trust. It takes like sometimes I will
Mm,
I'll give the response. Sometimes I have to reflect on it a bit
yeah.
and share the response.
I like that. I'm just sitting here taking mental notes. Like I like that because I do feel it doesn't make me feel awkward, but I just don't know the right. I just never know. It never feels right to just say, "Oh, sorry to hear that." Yeah, because I do feel their feelings, even though I'm not necessarily sharing them in that same way. But oh, I like that. I like that. You got my wheels spinning now.
In those moments, because it does feel like in those moments to tell someone, "Oh, just trust in the beauty and the perfectness of or the perfectness." That's not a word, but
It is
the
now.
perception of this everything that we live in. Just trust that. I mean, when you as the human existence experience algorithm that you're living through in that moment as a being, even in my own personal experience, I'm not feeling the energy of that. Oh, it's just all so perfect and magical. So
Right.
tell someone in that emotional space they're in that, oh, just trust the magic. Sometimes
Right.
like
Right.
the right space. It's really just
Right. They're like, get out of here with that.
right.
Yeah. I also struggle with it because I've never personally dealt with death in any meaningful way. I've had like great grandparents die in their 90s, but I wasn't, broken over it. It's just, I've never really had to experience a close person close to me dying. So I also, that just adds another layer of like, I don't really know what you want me to respond with here because I haven't necessarily experienced that.
Yeah. I don't know.
But yeah, what about God? What is your thought on God? I mean, well, I'll just let you talk, but like, is it a single being? Is it energy? What are your thoughts on God?
Thoughts on God. Can I take a moment? I'm going to share something with you. It's a good question. Because a friend of mine, a good friend of mine, was doing a talk at like a church last week. And that week before she was going to do that talk, she sent me a text. Like, I'm asking multiple friends of mine to give me a one sentence saying what God is. Can you send me that sentence? Send me a sentence saying what God is. I
Mm.
tried, honestly, I'll be real. I tried to send her a video of like, okay, watch minute 44, and that's my answer. And she's like, no, 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 no. I need you.
Yeah, that's cheating. That's cheating.
So I'm actually just quickly looking back. I wanted to share that sentence to kind of give you this,
Oh, okay, great.
um, because it's a it's huge, but not huge. It's very within and without. I love the within without concepts, of course.
Me too.
Uh,
It applies to so many things, right? Like it's just
wow, we've texted a lot. I gotta go. Jeez, I'm almost there. I'm almost there.
it's all good.
All
Yeah,
right.
my idea of God is just constantly shifting. Like I had the Christian view of it in the beginning, and then it's just sort of like I'm kind of agnostic about it at this point. I'm just like, I don't know. I mean, I have an idea of what I kind of believe, but at the end of the day, like, who knows?
Here we go. Wait, is this it? This it? Jeez.
Fingers crossed, fingers crossed.
I'm like, as I used to do like radio stuff when I was a teenager, and this is so not cool for radio world. Like, get
It's all
it.
good. It's all good. People nowadays are super patient and have very long attention spans. Oh wait, no, they don't. Oh wait.
Which is interesting.
Were you involved in the technical aspect of radio or on air or what?
A little both, to be
Oh,
honest.
right on. I
Um,
dabbled with that too. For I took a radio class back in the day when I was like 19 years old, and just local college radio or whatever, and loved it.
yeah, it was a great space. It was a good way, another good way of just kind of practicing uncomfortable spaces.
Yeah, well, join the club. Cheers to that. Doing these live videos like scared the piss out of me for a very long time. But like it just gets easier, just gets easier every time you do it.
So yeah, well, here's the sentence.
Okay, hit me.
So yeah, she said, "If you close your eyes, what is God?" And my response was, so I had to think about this for a bit before I processed that. I don't like the thinking because I was thinking and feeling, so processing
Yeah.
through this. And I finally, the sentence I finally wrote was, "Infinitely expanding love within, expressed without, is a boundless image of is." And I
Oh,
guess
well, that's very well worded. Yeah.
the best way I could say it. I mean, I really feel because it definitely the within without, so infinitely expanding love within. Because I do feel like love, there is that love factor that is
Right.
great transmuter of energy to what it feels like to me. One of the great helpful, I guess, ingredients of the transmutation of our feelings and energies.
Yep, exactly. Do you do you also believe that God is love? Sure, sure, sure. But do you also believe that God is evil and darkness and death, but also light and joy and peace? It's all of the things, or do you think it's that God is mostly comprised of love, from your perspective?
I guess that's also why in the second half that I said expressed without as a boundless image of is, because I guess I'm going to the mirror factor, right? Yes, I feel like it is. It encompasses all of that, definitely.
Sure.
That's, I guess, why can still love people who have really, I guess, in my life, you could say maybe really hurt me, or I could have said that. I have said that in the past, but now I don't feel that way anymore at all. The
Mm,
idea of hurt, like others hurting me, is not a possible thing anymore in my belief. And I used to question, is that a trauma response? Because yeah, I've gone through some freaking trauma. But
right.
is my trauma response to say, well, you can't hurt me anymore? The sticks and stones will hurt, but words will never hurt you.
Right. Right. Something along those lines. Yeah. Right. Right. Right.
Sure. But no, it really does feel like I've reached a point where I really do feel the embrace of. That's why I'll be honest. Like, okay, before I say this, I love you, Kaylin. I deeply love you. Kaylin will listen to this, I'm sure.
Let the record
Always,
show.
every
Lots of
time
love.
she's on one of her videos and say, "What's up, Team Light?" I'm always like, "Yo, yo, yo, girl, I love you deeply, but yeah, it's not just light, yo. It's not just light. Like I don't feel like I'm on a team of Team Light or Dark
Sure. Sure.
because I do feel like it's all just the perfect energy as it's supposed to be."
Yeah. Well, I'm with you, and I just feel like it's so hard to break free from like I talk about duality all the time, just because as humans we're so used to saying I'm on this team, I'm on the good team, or of the light, or nobody wants to go around. Well, some people sure want to say like I'm on team darkness, like nobody wants to go around
Just
parading that and announcing that to everybody.
like I'm a shadow worker or a light worker type concept. Like,
Right? Yeah, shadow work. I just have never heard anybody say that, but Yeah, I think that for me at least, and part of my journey was just seeing like, oh, it's both of the things. It's both sides of the coin. It's not just the and when I started realizing that was when I started looking into my own shadows and my own darkness deep down inside of myself and my mind and my heart and seeing like, oh, it's about embracing the darkness. It's about embracing all of the things. And that's what sort of opened it up for me. As I was like, well, if I'm that way, as within, so without, like the God and God and the universe is all in harmony and in balance. It's not all light or darkness.
Right. So true.
It's such an epiphany though to sort of see things different. And there's no right or wrong, right? Like there's like just
Right.
perspectives, but um yeah, I would talk to my kids about the nature of evil and how that's just a perspective. I mean, I think so many people like to throw around those are the bad guys, that guy's evil, he's a bad guy. Whether it's Putin or Darth Vader, it's like, well, those people don't consider themselves the villains. They don't just a matter of what side you're on.
Right. Yeah. Which is interesting. So in this woo woo world, there's a question. There's a constant positive energy push.
Yeah, right, right, right.
I've observed other people go through and feel this too, where they first really feel like the energy of trying to be positive, and then realize that, well, that's not really the balance point, or the fulcrum, I'll call it. So,
Right.
so there's this having to notice that. I mean, I as a daily human, I had the experience even this last week with my son, where I was like, I'm a pretty very patient parent, but I did know right in my one of these days where I realized I'm getting really impatient with my son right now, and I'm getting really angry. Like, and I had to really step a moment. I had to consciously take a moment of like, first of all, even tell my son, he's 12 years old.
Mhm.
So I'm noticing this feeling inside of myself, and I've just noticed how I'm acting on this feeling with you, and I need to be real with you. I was trying to just be because I believe I treat him like he's an adult in some ways where I'm just like, this is the full truth of what I'm experiencing. And I think it's fair to share it with you.
I love it, and I do the same thing. Love it. Go on.
Told him like, dude, I just need whatever we're doing right now, I need a moment. Like just
Mm.
to process why I'm what I'm feeling. Not even just something why. I'm letting go of why. I don't feel like I need to know why. This just
Yes, that's hard for me. Yes.
and it's a daily, I mean, yeah.
It's hard.
But I also believe in the choose happiness concept. Like we have for happiness, there's a choice there to reach that
Right.
feeling.
Yeah,
But
I mean, when I first started my spiritual journey, I was trying to be Mr. Positivity, like gotta turn those frowns upside down, and I expended so much energy trying to be positive every freaking day. And then
right,
I sort of had to go through that. It was part of the process, and I had to realize, oh, it's okay to not be Mr. Positivity every day. I can have bad days and be okay with that. I can get angry and it's a learning experience. Doesn't It's all part of the process.
you're right. It's amazing. And
Yeah, it's
Christian to fuck up, I guess is the part part of my language, right? Just like the guilt thing. There's a huge. I don't think, care what religion you come from in the past. There seems to be a common thread of guilt,
yeah,
project, and projected as an important part of the algorithm to either to live through as an experience, and then choose if we choose to shift. I guess.
right, right. I mean, right. Well, I question choice, right? Like we talked a little bit about free will and stuff, but I'm like, I don't know. Do we have a choice here? Do we not? I'm not completely convinced either way, but I'm like, I don't know how these things work, you know?
That's a good point.
What do you, what, go ahead.
I guess free will and choice. Is that where you're going to segue into as well?
Sure. Yeah. What do you think? I mean, have you ever thought, I mean, you must have thought about free will since we're talking about it, but
And to be honest, I'm a big fan of believing in free will. To be honest,
yeah.
because that's
Yeah.
just where I'm at. And
I
it's
want I want to believe there's free will. That would make things easier, I feel like, for me to wrap my mind around.
but with all these beliefs, I will also say, I mean, one of the moments of what I thought was a moment of brilliance or like an algorithm message that I saw. It's all algorithms to me. So kind of how I look at it.
Yes.
Um, that the word lie is in the word belief, right? And then
Mm,
in ways you could use that and then choose that as a rejection of beliefs. But I also feel like, well, the word lies in belief, and I love that fact or note. on the word that beliefs can trick us. But is it really a trick? It's not really a trick. It's just part of the walk, as far as I'm concerned. It's the perfect part of the walk, whatever does it.
Yes, I'm with you. It starts getting into like mind bending territory, like what are our beliefs and where do they come from? And is it true? Is it like, it's
But a lot, but I really believe allowing those beliefs like to change has been a huge part of my path on this anyway. Just really realizing that just because I believe something doesn't mean that's my belief long term. That's just a temporary experience that is walking me through an experience that I have to, that's not have to, I just am walking through.
Mhm.
Don't have to.
Yeah, well, right. For me at least, and I think for a lot of people, I would attach myself to those beliefs and be like, this is who I am. I have Christian beliefs, I have Republican beliefs, I have these beliefs. Um but then I found like, when I attached myself to those beliefs, then I started like trying to defend them to people. And then I get all worked up when people disagree with me. And these are all things that I like that I had to work through. Did you have to work through that stuff too? Or do you not
Yes.
work like me?
Yeah, definitely. Multiple, every, multiple steps of my life for sure.
Yeah,
Still
yeah,
doing
yeah.
it. I'm still doing it. It's just part of the process.
It's all part of the process, exactly. Well, you keep saying algorithm, it reminds me of AI. Like what are your thoughts on AI? What are your thoughts on are we in a simulation? Like a computer program or an algorithm or a matrix or something?
AI. I'm not. I've gone through different phases. I'm currently at a phase where I'm not scared of it anymore. I think I did go through a phase where I'm like, "Holy crap, Skynet's coming!" Blah blah blah.
Me too. Me too.
Uh, Now I'm at a point where I'm just like, yeah, you know,
Whatevs, whatevs.
whatever. It's the whatevs thing. It totally is. Are we in the matrix? I do believe that. That's why I was even when what do you believe or what happens after you die? A question was kind of tough because I'm not even sure there's a death. So
Right, right.
I am on that page where I think it's very possible, very likely that we are in a what we I guess this is where I struggle with the words. What's the right word? But simulation is the word we use, but it doesn't feel like the right word.
I know. Simulation. I like the word. I've been playing with the word construct, where it's just a construct. It's a I don't know.
Yeah.
It seems like a fancy thing to say in my brain. It just like because the Matrix is so played out, and I don't know what to call it either. But just like the grand illusion or whatever.
Well, I guess one of the things that keeps me at arm's length with the matrix word sometimes is the disassociation I observe sometimes that like, and then because you believe a lot of times the walk of the matrix algorithm experience, I'm going to call it, of
Yeah, sure.
also includes the NPC concept, non-player,
Uh huh.
which then to me feels like a disassociation that then those people, those energies, those whatever don't matter to you. And
Mm.
I think that honestly, like if you start walking down the street and looking at everybody around you as an NPC, that's that's I don't feel like that's a healthy level of for me. And again, like what's good, what's bad, what's healthy, what's not, I don't know. But for me, in my
Totally.
experience, it's not a healthy version of the detachment I'm seeking as a for my own healing and growth. Like there's a different version of attachment that I'm trying to let go of. And
Right.
if you start to disassociate that, well, those people that you see that only like I've seen, you see a lot of things on the social medias like I just don't have time for small chat, for small talk, blah blah blah. And I'm like,
Hmm.
but for me, that brief moment at the cash register of a grocery store, where even if you just have that 2-second eye contact, say a little bit of couple things back and forth, you can feel the amazing shift of energy between that person. And if you walk up to that register and think of the person as an NPC, then you're not that moment, that space, and that reverence. Actually, as far as I look at it, is of that the energy, the reverence and appreciation for their energy, whatever that is, giving that they exist as well.
Yeah, I never really thought of it that way before. Yeah, you're making my wheel spin again because now I like because I do kind of think like, well, maybe this is all fake. Maybe nobody exists except for me. Like, whatever. But I don't let it. It doesn't. I don't obsess over it. I'm not like they're fake. They're fake. They're fake. Like I don't. But I. it would be very easy to do that. So I imagine a lot that might happen to a lot of people, just thinking it's that they that it doesn't matter. Have you always been able to feel that energy from people and have that connection? Because I'm asking because I didn't. I had to actively work at it to make that human connection because I feel like as a society we've kind of lost it. Have you always kind of had that connection like that to interact with people?
Yeah, I guess I am a feeler at heart, a big time. So
Yeah.
yeah, always to feel the energy. I've always been able to feel the energy, which often, I'll be honest, hurts. So
Mm.
that's a part of me that I feel like I do still sometimes, like shut down or turn off at random.
You mean it hurts to feel so much?
Yes, there's
Yeah,
a,
yeah, yeah. Yep, I
but
can relate to that.
the hurt's okay because now I look at those moment of hurts as in like it is a mirror reflection. It's just
Right.
of me needing or choosing. See, that's where I do believe choice is part of it because
Mm.
I have to consciously shift it into my consciousness. From I think there is a choice to shift things from subconscious to consciousness that I
Yeah.
don't think is programmed to happen all the time. I think it is part of our challenge or my energies experience here. In order to do the healing, there's choices. I choose. Have to see. Stop. Words trip me up. Right.
It's all good.
The There's a choice I make to shift certain things from subconscious to conscious. And
Right.
look at that mirror and then observe that mirror and then choose what I do with the reflection I see in that mirror is a where I do believe there is a free will type element.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I play with the idea of it, but like, if I'm not actively choosing to make myself to practice responding differently, or looking within, or training my mind, or whatever I'm doing, if there's no choice there, then like, what is the what's the point of all this? What am I doing if I'm just on a track here and following along? So, I'm kind of on the fence. I'm always just sort of it's always in the back of my mind, like, well, I don't really know for sure, like where choice falls into it. But because there were those experiments, I think I mentioned in a podcast where like they have the person raise their hand when they see a signal or whatever, and there's evidence that shows that like the hand raises before the brain tells it to raise. Like there's some mechanism that is moving us along. And then you talk about like fate and destiny and these events that are destined to happen in our lives, and I'm like, is there free, well, I guess I'll ask you, is there free will? Do you think that there's these destiny events that are bound to happen no matter what, or it's created by our own choices?
I do believe it's a combination, but yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely I do believe there's a destiny, but I think it's also even though that there is I do believe there's a predestined destiny, fate, whatever word, and
Sure.
but I do believe that there's also the path to that destiny has no timeline, especially the timeline that we perceive here, and
Yeah.
that experience towards that destiny could take what we perceive as thousands of lifetimes, or it could take whatever choices we choose here to step towards that destiny. I do feel like that destiny is activated by I'm noticing, or this is the way in my own experience, resonating more with my authentic self or genuine whatever self, or the passions that I really feel passionate about, and exploring the feelings that come up as I step towards those passions, the freaking out, or whatever that, and but there is a choice for me to step towards that passion. There's a step for me that I do feel like there's a choice because I could choose to, and I have chosen at multiple points in my life to sit on the couch, smoke weed, eat snacks. You know,
Right, right.
like there's a healthy version of that, and there's a not healthy version of that.
Right. And it's all about balance.
Like, well, we can't judge. Well, some at some points there's choices that come out of the judgments that I guess I call some judgments are more like a. It's all coming back to the observation part of it. Like I can observe parts of or things of parts of my experience. I am realizing how really bring it to the conscious of how I feel. Like
Right.
the moments I think when you talked about on your earlier podcast about the balance of like like, yeah, maybe I'm you know try and if I do full fasting for this and this that's like just didn't feel right according to my body even so I'm gonna
Yeah.
change it and just try take another change and choice so did you feel like those were choices you were making to find a different balance or adjust your balance? Or do you feel like that was just part of your programming that you are on autopilot for?
Well, that's the question, right?
Right.
I don't know. I kind of, just to be honest, if I had a gun to my head, I'm leaning towards free will. So I'm kind of on team free will. Like I kind of think like there's a high likelihood that we do have free will, but there's also a chance we don't. So I try to just live my life and not think about like, maybe I don't have any choices that I'm making, because I do feel like I've worked at these things or tried to change these things in my life. And so I do like to think, I like to hope maybe that like that I did have a choice in it. I'd like to think that we all have the opportunity to change these things in our lives. So yeah, I kind of, it would make it, because kind of, not depressing is the wrong word, but it's sort of depressing to think that we don't have free will. It sort of sucks the fun out of the experience.
Well, I also like to say I'd like to give you permission to feel good about those things that you have, those steps you have made. And
Right.
are you, does, to decide that it's all, there's no free will and it's just a program that we are just not even, someone else is using the controller, pressing the A, B, and the up, down, left, right. Like
Right.
we just do what they're, whatever's doing, using the controller makes us do. But
Yep.
even if that's the case, I think it's still helpful to allow yourself to feel the feeling of feeling good about what you what you perceive as choices towards changes or adjustments in your algorithm.
Yeah, and celebrating those changes and accomplishments and victories and personal victories and, reaching your goals and all that stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard because when you start diving into some of the philosophies and stuff, they all sort of suggest that the way to enlightenment is to detach yourself from everything, and it's a fine line, because I found that once I start detaching myself from everything, it's real hard not to turn into a Vulcan or something, where they're just sort of like an emotionless automaton. Like I am not detached, I'm not attached to anything, and so it's trying to find that balance of like not getting myself emotionally attached to it, but still finding my humanity in it.
Well, it's interesting to say that because honestly, in a lot of the I forget which, I wish I could come up with a Star Trek example specifically, but I mean,
I'll let
one
it
of
slide.
the most, I mean, aren't there's multiple episodes of Star Trek movies, episodes, whatnot, where you learn that you Vulcans are perceived as less emotional and they consider themselves less emotional, but there's multiple examples where you realize they show their emotional selves. It's in this fact, even though God, I wish I had a specific example where you realize that there's actually like almost extremely emotional, like extremely empathetic, extremely like
Yeah, well, the thing is I feel like what they do in the series is they bottle it up. They've trained their mind to bottle that shit up, but then they've shown through several of the series and movies or whatever that that you bottle that shit up and eventually it's going to come out and erupt. And so you see these Vulcans that just lose their mind emotionally and freak the fuck out because like they've been bottling that shit up their whole life, or not
right.
dealing with it or whatever. And that's why I like the character of Spock so much, because I don't know how much you know Star Trek, but like he's half Vulcan and half human. So it plays with this idea of balance and this idea of emotion, having emotions and balancing your emotions. And I just love the symbology of Spock being half and half.
Yeah, yeah, agreed.
I love. Well, speaking of Spock, well, we're almost at an hour here. I just want to be respectful of your time. Are you okay? Do you want to wrap it up, or I can talk a little bit longer? I just didn't know where you're at.
Longer. No, we're good. I'm fine. I'm enjoying it. I will
Good,
go
me too.
the
I'm having a
conversation.
great time. These are the I'm having such a great time, to be honest with you, because I love having these conversations and I don't have that many people in my life that I can have these conversations with without their eyes glazing over, or they're just not into this sort of thing, right? And that's okay. But that's why I feel led to talk to people like you, is because like I love talking about this shit. So I'm
Yeah,
glad you're here. I'm glad you're here.
I love being here with you. Thank you for having me
Thank
with
you.
you.
Well, speaking of Spock, I'll transition to like aliens. Like what's your take on aliens? Do you think that they're here? Are they interdimensional? UAPs? Talk about whatever you want. Like, but what are your thoughts on it?
I just, yeah, I think that's definitely a part of the experience for sure.
So
Um,
do you think that they're here and have always been here, or what?
I do, and I feel like there's a lot of us that humans that actually are also. we're in the human form, but not actually a kind of are also. There's
Yeah.
I think there's a blend, and I think there's a even probably a crossbreeding that's happened or whatever that is.
Yeah.
They even speak in these terms because, like, when you go back to the Matrix thing, it's like it's part of the program. Yeah, but the
Yep.
experience, yeah, I do believe there's been a blending in our world of what we perceive as alien beings who are really mixed in with our society and our world.
Yeah. When I started, I don't know how much you've dove into ancient civilizations or whatever, but I've recently been fascinated by it and looking into the just ancient religions and what they talked about, a lot of origin stories from all of these different civilizations. And it's just so interesting because they all talk about the same stuff. They all mention beings coming from the sky. It's sort of an integral part of how humanity started, according to all of them. So I find that so interesting. Do you first of all, have you looked into that? And if what do you think about, like, perhaps aliens seeding this planet or creating humans, that maybe God isn't what we think, but it's just an alien race that sort of is superior to us, and we call that God, and they actually created us. What do you think about that?
Hmm, hmm, hmm. That's interesting. So I don't really feel like they created us, whoever they are. I don't. I kind of have a arm's length feeling to the word "they" in general.
Mm, yeah,
um, but I feel like I think there's a different frequency range that there are beings that are here that are definitely can experience have a different experience like we have than we have for sure. That may I see it again as a higher level, lower level vibrations. I sometimes I even kind of reject that. Like I was reflecting even last night where I was like, low vibration, high vibration, like what the F with that? Like some of my favorite thing are like awesome bass lines of music and thumping beats, where that's like the low end of the frequency. Give me
right,
a good bass line and I'm in heaven, right? So
right. We just label it as bad and don't question it.
so to have this perception of like that's the other thing that kind of throws me with a lot of the awakening we call it community is the
Yeah,
obsession with trying to reach high vibration. And
yeah,
just all the vibrations are important. And in fact, the range of vibration that we even perceive in this space we perceive is so freaking tiny compared to what we
right,
know
right.
exists.
Right. Just the visual spectrum alone is like, I don't think most people realize that, like, we can't really see anything, relatively speaking. Like, it's so narrow what we can perceive as in this human form.
So I do feel like there's energies. I think of it as all energies, like even humans in our everywhere are all energies. I feel like one of the things I've done in my past is I did actually learn this hypnosis style. And
Wait, say that again. What style?
hypnosis
Okay.
hypnosis, I actually trained to be like a hypnosis practitioner. I'm not practicing. Hopefully
Oh,
someday,
okay.
someday.
Interesting.
But I've kind of made the choice to step back for a bit and kind of do some other learning and
Yeah, it
practice.
might come around again. Who knows?
But one of the things I did explore in that space is it feels like it's a way to hack the matrix. I mean, you're literally
Yeah.
in that space, and you're in that space where you're also able like hypnosis is not a completely getting reprogrammed. It's actually can be a space where you can step into the programming with a teammate that you trust, and you can work together with all of the energies. And I've learned that you can work with those energies whether you're in hypnosis or not.
Sure.
Like
Yeah.
we can shift and change and experience energies any way we choose. That doesn't mean it's super instant, but
Right. Right.
it's I really feel like in the spaces of hypnosis I explored things like literally talking and having dialogue with, you know, pains in your bodies or emotions that you're experiencing or questions you may have about experiences you're having with family members or like and that you can shift and explore and talk to those entities directly in those spaces and kind of reach your own wisdom, really feeling the energy of the wisdom that we all seek really is within. It's in that space. Or it doesn't even need to be just contained in that space of the stillness. It's like the more I meditate, the more I feel like I realize that I don't need to meditate to even like reach or communicate, touch base with these energies the way that I felt I needed to meditate. It's- So, God, What's
Have you ever explored hypnosis? Either with like past life regression or whatever you call connecting with past lives, or like using sort of a hypnosis to get into a trance sort of state to channel a message from an entity or an alien or god or whatever. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, for sure. In fact, so yeah, definitely done some past life experience, both as a practitioner and as an experience for myself with someone with trades, with friends. I trade with my friends, my other classmates,
Yeah, great.
and that's yeah, done a lot of that kind of exploration for sure, and a
And
lot
how,
of it.
what's your take on that past life stuff? Because once we use the term past life, but if time is an illusion, then it's the past, present, and future all happening simultaneously. So like, what does that even mean to say past life? But did you resonate with it when you sort of discovered some of your past, quote unquote, past lives? Did you say like, yes, I was a merchant in Venice in the 1700s, or what was your experience with it?
And I guess I don't resonate with the word past for sure,
Yeah.
but I did resonate with the feeling of the energy of the healing that came out of the experience that I was having, if that makes sense.
Oh.
The feeling and the healing of it. The it's like one of my I'll just be like one of my past life experiences that I explored in the space of hypnosis was I had experience where I saw what I perceived as myself, and I consider it all perception to be honest. Like I perceived myself as a Buddhist monk, like in the Japanese history time when they were basically going after Christians and trying to get rid, like go to from town to town and weeding out the Christians, and that kind of period of history where I'm actually was watching and like I was the Buddhist in this town who unfortunately I had this feeling of like they found out about the Christians in the town that I lived in via me inadvertently, and then
Mm,
into my town and literally just killed the people I loved because they were Christian, even though
mm,
I deeply love these people. And I feel like that was felt like to me, it felt like that's an example of why, even though I've had the experience I've had around the word rejecting feels wrong, but rejecting Christianity in my own life. But even though as I rejected that version of spirituality, I still am attracted to Christian friends and bring people who are Christian into my life as some of my closest, deepest friends, even though I don't practice the same religion.
yeah.
And that was a huge learning lesson for me, is like having that experience as a past life, even if it wasn't. And I do feel like it's happening concurrently. Like I don't feel like that is the
Right.
past. I feel like
Right, right, right. So did you think it was more symbolic then, rather than being a literal monk at some point, or like right now?
it's interesting, the word symbolic. Yeah, I guess symbolic though feels too disassociative. That's a
Oh,
word.
but do you think you were literally? Or do you think that you're currently literally a monk? That you were experiencing a literal reincarnation, or is meant to just sort of show you deeper truths within yourself?
Both. Can I say both?
Oh, okay, okay,
It's both for sure.
okay.
Yeah.
Interesting, interesting.
Yeah.
What's your take on reincarnation? Do you ascribe to this idea that we're on this wheel of time, and that eventually one of these days, if we get our shit together spiritually, that we can get off this wheel of time? Do you ascribe to that sort of thing, or reincarnation?
I do, in the context of I feel like it's like for me, like I've learned, like it feels like healing is a core of that, where I've learned this thing. At one point I felt like healing was my mission, but now I've shifted to the point where healing's not my mission. But
Mm.
I feel like reincarnation, I don't
I'm sorry. Did you mean healing yourself or healing others, or what did you mean by that?
I feel like, well, healing myself is part of healing the collective, whatever the
Yeah,
collective.
yeah. Okay, okay, okay.
And I guess I feel like reincarnation. I think it's another program that's just one of the programs that's running that
Yeah.
is actually a helpful part of the process for me, is to have that like experience of yes, the energies continue and do that. But that's the thing with reincarnation. I feel like it's another version of the energies just continue, however they continue. But that's just one way that I feel like we frame it to make us feel good about that energy continuing, however it is.
Sure. Right, right. Do you think that you reincarnate in physicality every time, or maybe there's a non-physical reincarnation situation, or what?
I feel like it's anything. I feel like you can come back as a blade of grass. I feel like you can come back as a tree. I actually feel like many of us have experienced even what we would consider lifetimes in this space we're in as trees, but trees actually live a lot. I don't know, or as
Yeah.
a cat, like even like I do believe that some people even some like that's why I love people's connection with their pets. Like I love your Cheech connection. Like I believe
Thanks.
that it's
He's so great.
possible each is a family member, a friend, a soulmate from even different experiences you've had here on this,
Right. I agree. Yeah, right.
I mean Cheech maybe who knows? Could be
No, I've
love.
definitely had that thought. Like there's a strong connection there, and whether or not it's Cheech or the clerk at the grocery store that you connected with, I feel like everybody comes into our life for a reason, whether or not we notice it or understand it at the time. But I feel like whether it's somebody important or just the clerk at the grocery store, I feel like it all has meaning. You were meant to be in their life. I was meant to be in their life at that moment. We were meant to bump into each other for whatever reason. I think it's all interconnected.
Yeah, for sure. I do I'm going to speak to that a little bit more. Where I feel like there is a when it comes to even I do we're created in God's concept where even the things that we feel and go through, even what we perceive as God goes through as well. you know
Yes.
that the that God not doesn't sit in this you know fluffy couch not experiencing anything that we experience, and is putting us out here to experience it all for it, whatever it is that we are that
Right.
whatever energy is feels and experiences all of the same stuff that we feel and experience for sure.
Yeah. Do you think there's a well, you've kind of answered, I suppose, in a roundabout way, but do you think there's a difference between like your soul or your higher self or God or the all that is, or is that just a big soup of energy of all the same thing from your point of view?
I do actually. It's all a big soup of energy.
Yeah, because that's what all the ancients say. That's everything's kind of pointing to that, but it's hard because our minds just create this separation, separation from God, separation from other people, separation from whatever, and I think that it's about programming ourselves to realize that it's not that. It's getting ourselves into a frame of mind and reprogramming that we're all the same thing.
It's interesting
Kind of
because we're the same, we're all different in the same time. Balance of all that. The
Yeah, I
individual
know, like separate and together simultaneously. It sort of makes smoke come out of your ears.
is especially someone that I've clung to my individuality so much in my life, but then I
Right.
feel like I'm opened up to let go of that individuality in a way. Now I embrace collective in such a different way,
I
whatever.
know, but it's so hard to make that shift. It's that balance of that Buddhist, mindset of like I am nothing, not in a low self esteem way, of course, but like I am nothing and I am everything, and it's just sort of hard to because you strip away your identity, you strip away who you think you are, and then you're left with like, what the fuck is this? What am I now? Now all these things that I thought I was have fallen to the ground, and it's sort of like it's like a dark night of the soul, right? You sort of strip all that away, and then you're like, well, who am I? What do I stand for? What do I believe? Like, what's going on around here? Have you experienced that?
Oh, big time, of course.
Yeah, it's just, and it's that balance of again, not trying not to lose your humanity in that process of realizing, like, yes, I'm one with everything, but you detach so much from it, or detach from like, or this, I'm just speaking for myself, like detaching from my sense of self and who I am, and then it's hard to like not lose your humanity in that, I suppose.
Hmm. I'm interested by the concept of detaching from your sense of self in your context. Like I also, because I go back to the embracing the sense of self as well in the same breath.
Yeah,
Detach, embrace in the same breath of the self and of our experience.
yeah,
I'm just emotionally processing that right now. I'll be
right.
honest.
I know it's heavy shit, right?
I don't know.
I'll be thinking about that all day long.
Identity is huge. Yeah, because well, I guess when I look back at my past versions of my identity,
Yeah,
there was this definite attachment of that identity defined who I was.
right.
And now I guess what is my identity? I guess I am in a in between identity place, whatever that means,
Yeah, purgatory identities zone.
which actually feels pretty good. I don't know.
Does it? I've had the opposite of like it's discombobulating for me. It's sort of jarring to sort of figure out like, okay, now what? And I had to. I'm still, perhaps I'm still kind of in that process, maybe in some ways of just sort of finding that balance of what am I, because all the spiritual groups or the gurus, whatever, say like, "Who are you truly? Realize who you truly are." And I was like, I don't know what that means. Like, what am I? I think I'm just a human. And it's like, no, you are not a human. It is deeper than that. And I'm like, what are we talking about here? Am I my spirit? Am I God in human form? Like, what's going on around here? Like, I feel like I still haven't really put my finger on the answer to that, and maybe I never will.
But the beautiful part is you're all of that and none of it.
Right, right.
Like,
And
you're all
intellectually, I get that, but it's just it's hard to reprogram that and accept that. For me.
of it. See, I wonder where because yeah, I'm into the reprogramming programming concept where I try to observe the programming I'm in and or experiencing and see where I might want to change the code, we'll say.
Right.
Look at a lot of it, but a lot of that for me happens via the feeling of it. It's a very like, well, I feel I have to feel the shift for the shift to happen.
Right. Yeah. It's a. Yep. Same. It's an integral
So
part of it is working through the feelings. Yeah.
the figuring out tends to put me in the head of trying to figure out. Feel now that I'm not trying to figure anything out. I'm just feeling.
Yeah, yeah, I hear you. I recently had to come to that realization because I feel like I think you mentioned that you're the same, but I'm just very inquisitive. I just want to keep asking why, digging, 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 and yeah, recently the universe was like, look, take a breath. You don't have to have it all figured out. Maybe that's part of the game is being okay with not knowing all the answers and mysteries to the universe.
But I do want to share with you a big thank you for being that. I want to figure out why, because one of the gifts it has given you is the research you do around the history of all the commonalities of ancient wisdom and the ancient. Because, like, I'm this person who I'm one of those. I wish I took the time to do the research. I want to do the research. I want to do the research. But at the same time, that's not my space. That's not what I do. That's what I'm drawn to do is to do the digging. And I want to say big thank you again for doing a lot of the digging that you do and sharing the digging you do so that I can hear the results of your digging and choose what I want to do with myself with the research you've done, but so that it's a gift that you have that you also share with us. And
Well, you put a smile on my face. I really appreciate the kind words. Thank you. I appreciate it. But it's like it's not like I'm just doing what I love. I just love researching shit that I find fascinating. And when I first started this spiritual journey, I was trying to emulate all of these spiritual people that I found on Instagram or YouTube and tried to copy them and copy what they were doing and tried to form my life into this or that. I tried, like I just tried all the avenues, all the things, and it just never felt right. And then when I just started just doing things that I naturally love, like researching this shit, it just felt right and natural. And I feel like it's not for everybody, but like, you have your thing that you love doing and use heavy words like purpose, like it's your purpose in life to do it. And yeah, everybody has their own components and everybody has something different to add. And I just love talking about pyramids and, and ancient civilizations. So I'm glad somebody gets something out of it.
right. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Do you find that stuff interesting, like the ancient civilizations and pyramids?
Oh God. Yeah. Of
Yeah.
course.
Have you always been a kind of a history buff, like ancient Rome and just stuff like that?
Always been curious and interested in history for sure. And haven't done all the research that I wish it's one of those maybe I'm beating myself up too much. Like, I want to do more research. I want to do more research. But
Yeah,
as I,
why do you have to do research? What voice is telling you to do that, you know?
it's a good, right? But because it's not when I have that time where this is the time that I'm going to do stuff for me moment. That's not what I choose to do. It's the
Yeah,
research,
right, and there's nothing wrong with that, of course, right? Like,
and I have that. Yeah,
um, shoot, what was I just gonna say? Oh, have you ever dove into the emerald tablets? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do, and I have not. I want that's again on my bucket list. Which
Yeah, well, I've been feeling led to talk about it in on the podcast, so I'm going to do some episodes about that because I feel led to. But it's so interesting because that's where as within, so without, as above, so below, that sort of stuff. That's where it all came from.
yeah,
The
wow,
emerald tablets are just super fascinating, and well, I guess I won't dive into it too deep here, but just so much of that ancient wisdom and knowledge that's just sort of been there for thousands of years that I've had no I until you start looking at it, you're like, "Oh, I didn't even realize this stuff existed. Like this is really profound material."
yeah, beautiful. I look forward to hearing those podcasts.
Yeah, great. Um
You're doing the research, so I can just listen to your podcast and find out.
yeah, exactly. Well, now I'm all jazzed up about it. Now I'm really on an emerald tablet kick, so I think I'll do it. And like hermeticism, do you know anything about hermeticism or any of that stuff? Like that's all.
No, I really resonate with the criticism, of course. That's
Yeah, it's all so interesting. And again, like growing up Christian, like I'd never heard of hermeticism or any of this stuff or mysticism or I love looking into like all these religions that have these mystical and magical and alchemical, branches to these religions that I feel like it's like a secret or like an underground thing. Like they don't really talk about it. Like it's the branch of the religion that they don't want to, the ugly stepchild or whatever.
yeah. It's funny because as you say the word secret, it's I've been thinking about that word secret a lot recently. How it just feels like everything's an open. This stuff is an open secret. Like yes, it's a secret, but it's out there. It's out there.
Right. And no, it's so weird, especially now with our access to technology and information and all of that. It's just so open and out there. But I wonder if it was the same back in ancient Egypt or ancient Greece, where they had these secret societies or these mystery schools or whatever, where only certain people had access to them. I wonder if like I think that they were the only that they held all the knowledge. I don't think that, but I think that the mass public, I think the general population, even if they did have access to that knowledge, maybe they weren't ready for it spiritually or of the right frequency or whatever.
Yeah, or yeah, could be. I don't feel.
Yeah,
I feel like sometimes I feel like though the word secret develops these gatekeeping spaces
yeah.
where it definitely like join our secret club, be part of our secret society, be a part of our secret group.
We know
And
the real knowledge, not that dumb stuff that they're all talking about.
I kind of have a little like twinge in me every time I hear someone say, "Well, they're going to shut me down because I'm saying this out loud." Thing because I'm like, well, come on. I think that's
Right.
kind of BS to be honest. I think so. Just say it, whatever you're going to say, without this, because to me that projects a victimhood around the energy of the feeling that you're putting out there.
I agree.
They're going to shut me down if I speak the truth, and then it sort of feeds that secret gatekeeping type society.
You're
Bullshit.
so funny. Yes, I totally agree. It just perpetuates that us versus them mentality.
Yeah.
I definitely went through that phase of it was around well the pandemic, right? When I just started seeing things differently and I was like I can see the government doing all these things and big pharma and I was like what's going on around here? Did you go through a similar phase where you
Yeah, and actually, I'm still kind of walking that because I'm still like trying to figure
mm,
out feelings on fluoride. I'm still trying to figure out like I've gone down the I have gone down the flat Earth or Bunny Hill and explored that, and it's just one of the things I want to speak on that real quick because I love the flat Earth and the round globe Earth debates. Really,
yep.
most of what I love about it is it activates the energy of like I feel like activating that energy of what's the energy like the conflict is the wrong word, but like energy of disagreements actually helps generate the energies that will shift into more growth is what I like about it. Like I feel like once you poke at things that first of all frustrate people, sometimes activates that energy of changing because I think of the word evolve. in chemistry. And like element chemistry is a big thing we talk about a lot in this space, a lot in these planes.
Yeah.
And part of that process is a process of blending together chemicals that have these reactions that actually are pretty conflicting with each other until they do their process and then transform into something different, right? It's a lot of chemistry. That's
Right.
my layman's description of what a lot of chemical reactions are. And that's one of the things I love about the conflict that happens with these subjects is that the conflict is actually good at the core of it because it activates the energy that actually are the beginning process of the shift for a lot of space. In my
Yeah, I totally agree.
think about
Yeah, I
that.
totally agree. Well, it's about like for me, it was a big shift of just flat Earth, for example. I've always been a little, I like the X Files, and like I was always a little conspiratorial, like yeah, there's wacky stuff out there, or JFK's assassination, or just that sort of stuff. But I never really dove into it, never really questioned it. I was like, yeah, maybe ancient aliens, maybe yeah, there's weirdness around the pyramids, but like whatever. Um, but then I started diving into it, and I started, for me, it was a perspective thing. I started asking myself, like, okay, why do people actually believe the Earth is flat? I don't want to agree or disagree with it. I just want to like, why do they think that? I just want to hear what they have to say, and I'll make my own decision. And I did that with many of these, conspiratorial conspiracy theories. I just wanted to hear what they had to say.
Yeah.
Did you dive deep? Did you dive into tinfoil hat land or not?
I guess I dive into an observer type place.
Hmm.
I've tend to just observe
Yeah.
and kind of observe where I guess I notice myself sometimes getting too. I read the comment streams and then I get kind of emotional about it because some of the extreme versions of the conflict get to me emotionally, to be honest. And
Sure. Sure.
then I process that through a little bit, where the hate and the rage and the anger and the I'm right, you're wrong, and all that stuff. I don't know. Sometimes it just, I guess that's something I'm still kind of trying to understand why it gets to me so much because does get to me. Because I do have this, I want everybody to get along feeling.
Right. But then but also asking yourself, like, why do you have that why are you compelled to do that? Why do you feel the need to? I'm not pointing my finger at you, of course, but like I had to ask myself too, like why do I care if other people are happy or awakening, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, oh, yeah, for sure.
Because I felt I did feel the need, like I'm relating to you. I feel like I had the need because in the spiritual circles, we're often told like we're on team light. We are waking up the planet. We are the spearhead. And it made me feel like yeah, okay, let's do this. Like let's wake the planet up.
Yeah,
Let's plant seeds. Let's like I'm gung ho for it. And then I started asking myself like why am I trying to control the awakening of the planet? Why, rather than just sort of letting it naturally unfold? Maybe I'll play a role in it, maybe I won't. But I feel like I caught myself trying to force it, trying to become an evangelizer for my brand of spirituality, and like we're gonna wake up all the sheeple and transform into the 5D. And I just had to step back and say like, why am I doing all of that? Why do I feel the need to do that? Not that there's any right or wrong in this conversation, but like,
yeah,
uh, I just didn't know. I had to ask myself why I was doing that sort of thing.
yeah, yeah,
It's like Christianity too. I just was so programmed to evangelize Jesus and tell everybody that they're, just politely warn everybody they're all going to hell if they don't believe what I believe.
yeah,
Um, but I do, but it's hard because I'm torn, because I do believe that we're going through this consciousness shift on a planet. I do believe that there's a spiritual component to it, and there is light and darkness, and so I think there is some truth in some of that for me. But I just have to continually check myself and my own role in that process.
yeah. Well, like I have to say, like I have a lot of love for Jesus, to be honest. Like I feel like now I've kind of come for a circle where I'm like, I don't want to reject that algorithm completely anymore.
Yeah.
To the point that I'll be honest, I ended up watching that show, The Chosen, for like up till season three, and it's
Sure.
because I completely resonated with that show, but in a different way. Like in between the episodes of the show, there's lots of people talking about how it brought them back to the Bible and their Christianity, and I get that, and I love that. That's great. It's activating people's spiritual selves, and however way it
Hmm.
does. right? But they're and that feels like it's activating the club in some ways. For a lot of people, it's a club. But and then that's maybe my judgment. Maybe I'm judging. I don't know.
No,
But
I'm with you. Yeah, I hear you.
though that show, even the way they portray Jesus, there's a lot of elements. I'm like, well, holy shit, that's totally in like the stuff. The version of Jesus they portray is totally like the version of Jesus that the spiritual awakening community, whatever that we call it,
Right.
can totally connect with.
Right.
Like there's multiple moments in that show. I'm just like, wow, yes, okay,
Yeah, I can relate to you. I because I went through a period for years where I was kind of bitter about just religion in general, not just Christianity, but like
yeah,
just just bitter is the right word, I guess. I was trying to elaborate, but like I just had a bad taste in my mouth, and I kind of just those Christians and religious people, and um yeah, I'm with you in that I now get stuff from all walks of life, but I'll find myself listening to some YouTube videos of a Christian pastor, or some gospel music, or it all kind of resonates how it resonates, and it doesn't matter if it's secular or Christian or Jewish or whatever. I found that now I can get myself to a place where I've sort of dropped the bitterness and realize like there's usefulness for my soul in all of it, and I can resonate with any of it or all of it. That was a shift for me, and I like that.
plus I feel like opens up feeling that energy around religions in general opens up the space for energetic vibrational space.
Yeah, right, right.
There's walks in that space where they're maybe on the cusp of diversifying, let's say, their spiritual experience.
Right, right.
And so,
But I think that's good. I think that's healthy to diversify rather than locking ourselves into this box or that box. I guess for
right.
myself personally, at least, but like it's good to have those different perspectives. And once I found for my own self that once I started like looking into these religions, like I said, they're more or less talking about the same stuff. Once you realize like they're all kind of talking about love, just trying to be a good human and to, not be a jerk, then like that's basically what they're all talking about,
Yeah, yeah, right, essentially.
you know? Well, for no
Oh,
other reason than I have to pee really bad, I'm gonna wrap it up.
I have to do the same. So I appreciate that.
I absolutely, I had a super great time talking to you. If you're down, I'd love to chat again in the future and just like pick your brain again because I love talking to you. This is
Yeah,
this was divine. It worked out perfectly.
yeah, I'd love to chat more. I love chatting about this stuff with no like other agenda as like I loved having these chats with no other agenda around the conversation. Just
Yeah, exactly. It feels just more natural that way, you know?
sure. So really, I appreciate your time. I appreciate talking with you, and I appreciate your podcast, and I appreciate you in general.
Hey, thank you. I feel the same about you.
And anyone listening, I appreciate you and love you
I
as well.
know. Cheers to everybody. Thanks
All
for
right.
joining me, and until next time, it was good talking to you.
Yeah, have a beautiful day.
Hey, you too. Thanks.